Welcome to DIY Hair School, and on today's video I am going to show you how I manage my oily hair on day 2 to make it look presentable. The key to remember here is we're making our hair look presentable. If you have an oily scalp and fine hair like me, then you know that no matter what you do, you're going to wake up with oily roots on day 2, and there's really nothing you can do about that. But if you don't want to have to wash your hair every day, this is something that you can do to make it look nice, but it's not going to look the same as when you freshly wash your hair. And that is just something that you have to accept. If you're not going to wash your hair every day, you're not going to look like you have freshly washed hair every day. So the first thing that I always do is I take my clean hairbrush and I thoroughly brush my hair through. If your hair is excessively tangly, then you do want to start at the bottom and work out any big knots that you have, but my hair is not very tangly at all, so brushing from the root down is totally fine. And if you do start from the bottom to brush out a bunch of tangles, you do eventually want to go up to the root and brush all the way down, and this is going to help to distribute some of that oil throughout your hair, because what you'll notice is typically, even though your roots are basically plastered to your head with oil, your ends are going to be relatively dry. So to help moisturize that a little bit, you're just going to spend about a minute or so brushing your hair through to really distribute all of that oil throughout your hair to help moisturize your ends. Once you are finished with the brushing, you are going to go in with dry shampoo. You can absolutely use any dry shampoo that you like and that works for you. I always use the Batiste. I know not everybody likes this one, but it is the only one I find for my hair that actually absorbs all the oil really well. I have tried more natural ones. I have tried ones that don't leave residue. I have tried making my own, and just honestly, for me, this is my favorite. So it is what it is, and I don't mind using it once in a while, but use whichever one you want and whichever one works well for your hair. Just make sure you use it correctly. So for this one, you want to make sure you shake it really, really well, and then you are going to take sections. I always start right here at the back and just little squirts in those sections. You don't want to just take it and spray it all over your head. So you also don't want to hold it too close to your head. That's when you're more likely to get a bunch of white residue, when you use too much or when you put it too close to your head. So it's best to hold it about a foot away from your head while you're spraying. Once you've got all your dry shampoo in, you're gonna let it sit for 30 seconds to a minute without doing anything. Just let it kind of do its job. Once it has sat in your hair for about a minute, you can massage it in. This should help get rid of any excess residue left over. That residue sits on your hair when there isn't too much and there's not any oil to absorb. So usually rubbing it in will just help to move any residue around and help it to find some oil to absorb. Once you have done all of the rubbing in, you're going to brush your hair again. So now my hair has a little bit of volume back. It's definitely not perfectly clean, but it is definitely not looking plastered to my head and totally oily anymore. But what we are left with is very dry mids and ends, especially after the dry shampoo, because it is very drying, obviously, as it is designed to absorb moisture. So what I do then is I go in with a smoothing and hydrating product from my mids to my ends, just to help to smooth and rehydrate the ends of my hair. I have two favorite products for this. I either love to use the Olaplex number 6, and that is a great one to put on your dry hair. It's great in wet hair too. Or I also love the Evolve Super Finish Polishing Balm. This is definitely my more go-to in the summer because it does have UV protection for your hair, but since I'm in Canada and the winter is dark and gloomy, I don't worry about UV protection as much in the winter, because if I'm outside, I'm usually wearing a hat anyways. But both of these are great. Both can go in wet and dry hair, and I love them both. And really, any smoothing product that you love is going to be the right product for you. So I'll put one on one side of my hair and I'll put the other on the other side so you can just see the difference. So for the Olaplex, I'm going to have to use about half what I normally use because I'm only doing half my head. So I would usually use just about double that, like 2 pea sizes. And I like to really emulsify it through my hands and then just get in there and a little bit of praying hands and a little bit of raking. And you can see that really just smooths and adds shine and calms down the hair and kind of reinvigorates the shape that I had yesterday when I styled my hair, instead of my hair just being kind of flat and bumpy. So now we'll use the Polishing Balm by Evolve. Not too much again, it's kind of hard to see, but again, just rub it through. Same idea, I always like to start with a good layer on my praying hands and then rake it through. Both of these products work really well in fine hair. Neither leaves my hair weighed down or dirty looking, just hydrated and shiny. And there we go. My hair is refreshed. I am ready to go for day 2 with not washing my hair. It's not perfect. It doesn't look freshly washed, but it also doesn't look gross. And no one's gonna look at me and think, ew, her hair is so nasty today. But if you love to wash your hair every day, that's also fine. And if you don't wanna wash your hair for a week, that's also fine. Do whatever works for you. This is just something you can do if you want to help make your hair look its best on day 2. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. Like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And check me out on Instagram and TikTok for daily content.